YouTube, it's your boy Sean Matry here, with my reaction to Duel Links. So, my reaction to everybody else's reaction to everything. Yeah, let me give you a story of how I got into streaming. So, my boy Steven, I'll leave a link in his channel below. By the way, amazing creator. He streams a lot of Pocket, makes amazing Pocket videos. So, if you don't know him, go check him out. In the description below. And my boy Mike Tonic and Choppa, who used to create Duel Links content, really got me into content creation. I used to play the game as not a content creator at first, but in about Crystron era, D-Side era, I started content creating, and I started becoming a content creator. I had some doubts about myself. I was like not the most self-confident person in the world, which you wouldn't believe now, but I had a lot of lack of confidence that I feel like if I got behind a camera, then people would, not come to watch me and blah, 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 blah. But that all went to doubt. But anyway, okay, so let me get started on where Duel Links was and how it was from a content creator's perspective, especially one who's come from Twitch. And I think this is important because we haven't had many reactions from people who have actively streamed on Twitch too much. I know Loom did for a lot. Loom did stream on Twitch. Used to stream on Twitch a lot. But other than that, I really haven't seen... I don't know if there's been too many reactions for those who have been on Twitch. I could be wrong, so correct me please if I'm wrong. But okay, but let me give you a Twitch creator's perspective. So yes, on Twitch, we did have a large following for Duel Links. So for anyone who says there wasn't a lot of content creation going on the Duel Links side, there was. So we had a lot of creators. Mario ZRG, Nifroth consistently really put out good numbers. Always in the 100+ viewer range, which was always a good viewer range on Duel Links side. Anytime you can nail like 100 to 200 viewers, it was always good because that's like mid-range creator stats and a smaller marketed game. But that's still pretty dang good for a card creation game. You're still putting out some numbers. Not the crazy numbers of like Decade and whatnot, but it still puts out good numbers nonetheless for a successful community to develop and people to recognize streamers inside that community. So yeah, you had pretty sizable streamers when the game first really developed. I think a streaming core really started to develop once you got the D-Side era. Now, there were creators before the D-Side era, obviously Guns Blazing, YT Dan, Decade, just to name a few right off the bat. Yummy Bakura, she also streamed the game as well. So there was a good following behind that before we even got to those era. But in the D-Side era, that's where I really felt you saw Twitch start to blow up. And you had creators such as not only Decade, but also even before this, DLE came into perspective. Amazing content creator. They treated me like family. They've had me on stream. They're absolutely fantastic. We had my boy Steven. Steven streamed Duel Links. Choppa streamed Duel Links. I streamed it. And every one of us were well over the 100 viewer range that I'm talking about. Everybody that I'm bringing up. Who else streamed at that time? Mario ZRG. Then we had Matt X Mango, who is a brother of mine, really close friend of mine, alongside Steven and Choppa, come into the fray streaming. I could go on. There's more. There's a lot more. Dimbrodus, Venus, Duel Links Lounge. Yeah, so many different content creators who came in. Ayami, who is another one of my boys, also streamed Duel Links. But a lot of us constantly, Nifroth, how can I ever forget my boy Nif? Nif is an amazing creator. Yeah, so many content creators all around the day that would stream on Twitch. So Twitch had a really large following for Duel Links. So like you would have in the morning hours, I would generally come on after Senpapi, because Senpapi came out at like 5 a.m. in the morning. I was on at 7. I used to be 7 a.m. To like 10 a.m. Sometimes earlier, but most of that time. Then you would have Nifroth come on. Then you would generally have DLE host the tournament. Because Battle Phase, believe it or not, and a lot of the newer Duel Links players may not know this, but there was Battle Phases practically every day. Duel Links tournament support. Duel Links has one of the best communities as far as tournament support. I really want to give a huge shout out to everyone who was on the tournament scene because, you know, if you're strictly on the YouTube side and you've never been on the Twitch side, if you've never been on the Twitch side, then you're not going to know all these tournament creators. So, over the years, we've had DK, DLE, Grand Harrier, Acceleration Gate, creating tournaments. A Pilot, who doesn't stream anymore, but Pilot used to create so many tournaments as well. The AU Weekly, DLE, obviously I brought up, but so many different tournament creators. And now we have Hikari doing Rush. We have so many people doing Rush tournaments. Quantum Cubes as well. Quantum came in the fray afterwards. He does daily tournaments. There's so much support for the tournament community. It's absolutely insane how much support and love that the Duel Links community has gotten as far as tournaments. So definitely a lot of love on the Twitch side. So I don't want people to think for a second Twitch has all been TCG and there hasn't been any Duel Links creators, but there has been a strong amount of Duel Links creators always on the Twitch side. Even later on, we had Dim Brodus come into the fray. Dim was a really good friend of mine. Dim Brodus came into the frame. He was an amazing streamer. Mood Trapper, I didn't even bring him up. Mood was one of the most active creators, right up there. Really good friend of mine. Did content pretty much every day. Negative One, one of the world's best players, he streamed. So many active streamers. Luke Tyler, who another world's level player right there. So you could just see how many people have loved Duel Links on the Twitch side, always putting up those big numbers. And now we have Grand Harrier streaming all of his love for Duel Links. So you can see Grand is one of my boys, puts in so much passion for the game that he loves. And love you, Grand. Love you, bro. You are fantastic. You as well, Quantum. So much passion. You can see behind every streamer, there is amazing passion. And now we have creators who came in, a few years ago. Icy, one of my closest friends, he streams Duel Links. Amazing content creator. I will leave his channel in the in the description below. Icy Gamers 2, that's his channel for Pocket, and you can go check out Dueling Unlocked. He does all kinds of Duel Links content: Rush, Speed, tier lists, box reviews, deck profiles, deck lists. Go check him out, please. One of my great friends does amazing content, and my friend Scyther used to stream it. So many people streamed it. So again, just to cover the Twitch court, this video, I'm not promising it's going to be short, but it's going to be detailed. I want to go over everything, and I want to make sure everybody is shouted out and represented to the best of my ability, because everyone deserves to be honored in this Duel Links community for what we've built, because everybody's a part of it. Okay, so that will take care of that. I also want to give a huge shout out to my boy Random Plox and Jadehex, who did the Meta Freakly back in the day. If you guys didn't know that, they used to stream that on Mondays. I think it was like on Fridays that we did the Freakly. So that was like a big thing as far as tournament creation. So I definitely want to add in Jadehex and Random Plox into that core. And if I missed any of you guys, I'm deeply sorry. Oh, yeah, I also want to go into some of the other creators on Twitch. I've missed a few. Oh, golly. So many. It's like clouding my mind. I want to give a huge shout out to my boy Crimson Reaper 5. He's a fantastic creator. He is, like I said, truly puts all of his passion into Altergeist. Like one of the best Altergeist pilots out there. If not one of the best I've seen. He is fantastic. You have to watch him. You could just see every one of these creators that I'm bringing up just has so much passion behind all their work. It's unbelievable. And Choppa 200, Choppa, man, bro, I know you are retired from the streaming world, but golly, we miss you. I miss your energy every night, bro. I miss you. I miss you so much streaming this game and any game, really, because like I said, I'd follow you and Steven anywhere, whether you guys, whatever you guys streamed, you guys are my brothers, so I'd follow you, whatever you guys streamed, I would definitely be there for it. whatever. Okay, anyway. Okay, now on to the YouTube core. This is the second part of this video. YouTube core has a ton of content creators behind it. A ton. TB Army. Loom. Loom is an amazing creator. Loom is one of the best creators out there. He truly, the minute a box comes out, he's posting videos on it, getting all of his deck lists out there, explaining everything in detail, what replays and gameplay. Make sure you check Loom out. Absolutely fantastic. Great content creator. I'll leave his channel in the description below. But Loom is fantastic. So please, I love all these guys on YouTube as well. So you have TB Army, you have Loom, you have Brad. Brad is another amazing creator. You know, everybody. Just really fantastic. Oh, Pap. Pap is YouTube. Fantastic. Yami Jesse used to stream on he does YouTube, and he used to be all over Twitch. All the amazing Duel Links stuff you see, a lot of it is Yami Jesse, and he is amazing, fantastic. He loved playing Chris Strong a lot. He also loved streaming all of his KC Cup runs. I got to watch them, and he was fantastic. It was great it's a great person to chat with. Does all these no skill tournaments. Please go watch him. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So, and obviously Hikari, she does both YouTube and Twitch. So, great stuff. Absolutely amazing. Go watch all these guys. Tomato, another Twitch creator. I just, like, you're wondering why, why you just randomly spatting names. It's because just, there's so many creators that they just pop in my head. Like, not everything just pops in my head at once. It's just constantly popping in my head. So, I want to make sure everybody's recognized. So, yeah. Definitely a huge following on both sides. Please, 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 please know that. Okay. How Duel Links was. So what was the problem with, why did Duel Links thrive? Well, before Master Duel, it was the only way to play online. Now, you gotta remember, for some people, you know, locals is not close. Okay, it's very easy from a TCG perspective to just say, go to locals, go to regionals. But many people don't have access to that. You know, many people don't have the time for that. You know, some people are in school, you know, whether it be college or even if you're playing as a teenager, you're in high school. You know, some people, you know, may not drive. You know, they don't drive, so they don't get to go to locals. They don't, you know, getting around is not the easiest. I can tell you where I am. I'm not going to say my location, obviously, but, you know, it's not easy to get to locals. It's like very barren. So, you know, I know for all of you who know where I'm from, great. So, you know, but again, so, you know, just keep that in mind. It's not easy for everyone to get to tournaments, and it's not easy to do that as frequently as people would like. So, having a game where people can play the game as easily, as access it as easily, was a main reason for people getting into Duel Links. And another thing is, you always had the ability to watch other people play. So, like, if you wanted to just watch Duel Links as a game, you could, because there was always creators on, whether it be Guns, Yami Bakor, myself, Steven, Chopper, whoever. There was always the ability to watch the game being played at all times. So it always kept Yu-Gi-Oh! Something 24/7. Because you gotta remember, in the days you weren't in tournaments, in the days you didn't have locals, what were you doing? Well, you were at home with your deck and, you know, doing nothing. What were you gonna do? Play test against yourself? You know, I mean, come on. That's not very fun. Or you would have to go on Dueling Book, but don't get me started with Dueling Book, and don't get me started with the issues that encounters with YGO Pro and whatever else. And still, the AIs of those games, granted, the developers did an absolutely amazing job of both of those games. It's just that, from my perspective, the communities in those games, not exactly been the best experience for me, but maybe for other people it worked out well. But I feel like in Duel Links, at least, it's much easier to develop a really good following. So that's the Twitch core, and that's the YouTube core. Again, really good stuff, amazing content, always being thrown around about Duel Links, around all these different creators. I want to go over one more Twitch creator that just came to my mind, and that's Aussie Bumpkin. He's another amazing Twitch creator. He doesn't stream Duel Links anymore, but another amazing creator. Like I said, all these creators popping in my head. You can see how many saturated this game was. Again, going to Duel Links, whatever it was, like I said, continuing on part 3, how Duel Links was. Duel Links, like I said, used to be a really thriving game. The tournament scene was nearly every day with DLE and DK doing battle phases, and meta weeklies, meta freaklies. I don't know how many Duel Links players were around before this, but there used to be a tournament called DK ran called the MCS. If you're involved with Master Duel, you probably already know what it is. But the MCS used to be around in Duel Links, where the top players would compete in the tournament around 7 rounds, and then like 5 rounds of top cut for a huge prize. So that's something that really anchored people around too, as well as Team Wars. Team Wars, I cannot forget them. Team Wars really anchored Duel Links because they had the most competitive league in the game, and they really anchored down communities, building teams, anchoring and building their best rosters, as well as having a really cool group of in-house streamers who were active in the community casting the wars, and that really set things up. Ohimi, another streamer, a great streamer, really good friend of mine, also streamed as well. Yo Bro My Co also streamed as well. So you had all different creators and top tier players all the time streaming, casting, whatnot, and streaming case cups. Okay. Now the other thing I want to bring up too is the KC Cup, and I think this is something that kind of goes into both issues and also both successes at the same time. So the KC Cup was, and I talked about this with Pilot, I think, a while back, but it was something that brought everybody together. And now you're going to say, well, what the heck do you mean by that? Well, if you don't know, on the Twitch side, basically you had a certain amount of streamers. I want to point these streamers out most of the time because these are the guys have been the most consistent at streaming KC Cup runs. Not to say that anyone else hasn't, but these guys, at least in my perspective, I have known for like being the KC Cup marathoners. Steven, Choppa, myself, Mood Trapper, Mango, Ohimi, you seen Luke do it, these guys in particular, and I'm talking about stage 2, I'm not talking stage 1. And stage 2, I see as well, yep, I see myself, Steven, Choppa, Mood, Mango, yeah, all the stage 2 streaming really revolves. Scyther also does it, amazing content creator, I will link him as well, but these guys, myself included with that, have really been the stage 2 grinders. What do I mean by that? I mean, when people want non-stop content, because the KC Cup is, if you don't know it, is a 72-hour event. It's the same thing as the Duel Cup and Masters, literally the same thing. 72-hour event, non-stop dueling. So what would happen is generally you would have, I know Steven used to start right at midnight, so he used to start right at the point, or 1 a.m. or whatever the heck it began, and then continue on. Then I would jump on after him in the morning, after him and Chopper would come on, and then you would have Mood come on, and Mood was one of my favorite creators to stream the KC Cup, because when Mood would come on, it was hilarious, and this is a huge shout out to you, brother, and to everyone on the DLE side. When Mood came on, it was so funny because Mood would play for like 12 hours straight, and then he would go off and say, all right, I'm going to take a little nap, and Mood would go, maybe I need to sleep a little bit more. I'm a little tired, let me go to sleep. 30 minutes, he'd get up and go. The streamer Papa would go, okay, guys, we're back. KC Cup, let's go. And it was the funniest thing in the world. He was like one of the most devoted people to play the KC Cup I've ever seen in my entire life. And like I said, for me, all of you, I know you guys know my KC Cup streams when you guys sitting there and we're grinding, and the tilt is happening and we're going up and down. You hear me go, oh, one more game, Sean. And I'm like smacking my head down, and yeah, So I appreciate, again, for everyone who's been there during my streams in the KC Cup. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. So yeah, I'll talk about what we're gonna do in future KC Cups soon. But yeah. But obviously my schooling's gonna come into play, so I'm gonna. That's a different video for a different day. But yeah. But yeah. So like I said, the KC Cup brought everybody together. Everyone would have at least 200 viewers in their stream. Mood, Steven, and I know Choppa hit those numbers as well. I can tell you those right off the bat from KC Cups. Ohimi was in the high numbers as well during the peak points, as well as Luke. Everybody there hit high numbers. And it shows because the content was passionate. And the people who wanted to watch, all the Duel Links people, a lot of people who didn't play Station, because then you gotta remember, not everyone did, which was understandable because people had work and they had lives to do, and then, you know, some people just don't want to do it the 72 hours, which is completely understandable in my mind. I get it 100%. It's not easy. So, you know, everyone just wanted to stop in, watch the gameplay, and whatever not. So, you know, it always brought everyone together, and I think it was great because even new content creators could get introduced to even older content creators could get introduced to new people. And new people could get introduced to other content creators because raids were going on. So when somebody was done with a stream, someone would raid someone else with generally like a large number of like 80 people, and then people would come in and watch everybody else's stream, and it would be absolutely fantastic. And I always say this for Twitch advice: when you raid, you know, a raid, you know, people say, oh, raid boosts all the viewers, but it doesn't, because you have to keep people engaged. If people are staying there, that means you're engaging them in their content. You know, if you're not engaged, then it's like, oh, well, I'm going to leave anyway. But people were staying because they were truly love the content and they've always been engaged. So that's something you always have to keep in mind. Also, Duel Links, like I said, was always popular because, you know, the game was also free to play, more free to play accessible back then. So you always had the game accessible because you used to have something called duel trials at the gate. Now, they got rid of them, which is a little bit upsetting, Konami. You used to be able to get a lot more free-to-play accessible gems. Kind of like how in Pocket, you know how you download Pokemon Pocket for the first time and you do all these all these challenges to get expert, beginner, advanced, intermediate, and you get a lot of hourglasses. Well, in Duel Links, you used to have the same thing for gems, but you don't get that anymore, which is a little bit upsetting. I think that needs to come back for like new players and whatever not, but you know, you only get a limited amount now, so it's like, you know, it does definitely decreases how effective it is easily to come in the game. But now, but like I said, Duel Links was always a thriving community. So that's how Duel Links was. Now, going on to issues currently. Also another thing that was on Duel Links was Clan Wars. That was also another big, thing in terms of team war environments as well. So keep that in mind. For issues currently. All right, now this is the big one, okay? Number one, this is the game's issues. Horrible ranking system. All right, now, let me explain. Duel Links has actively one of the worst rank systems in the entire game. And and all card games. I'm dead serious about this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone who I've heard saying this, but it's true. The reason why is once you get to King of Games, which isn't tough, getting COG is not tough. And people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you just insulted us. No, I am not. But anyone can get King of Games as long as you're at least decently skilled in this game. And I mean, not going into Legend with an absolutely, jank deck of like, I don't know, 3 Man-Eater Bugs, 3 Drowning Mirror Force, a bunch of random spells and traps. You're pretty much going to get King Games. Unless you come in with a pile of slop. I'm sorry to say that. Unless your deck is absolute slop. You're not going to get caught. That's the only way. Or unless you take a meta deck and you have no idea what you're doing with it, and you have no idea what the plays are, and you can't figure out anything. That is literally the only way you're not going to get King of Games. The problem is, and this is kind of where it goes into play, is that once you get COG, the season's over. Now, you may say, no, it's not. I could play a COG. Yeah, you're going to get nowhere. In COG, you face bots. Okay? In COG, there are a ton of bots. And memes. So, if you're competitive, you're screwed. You're just going to play a bunch of meme decks. Which doesn't really do anything for you if you're competitive. So, you just have nothing else to do for the rest of the season. No way to practice, no way to learn. You can practice in COG, but, you know, if you're a competitive player, you want to practice against competitive decks. You really don't want to practice against COG decks, right? Like memes and stuff like that. What needs to be changed? Well, please, Konami, give us rated. Please. Master Duel has it. Duel Links does not. So if you wonder why, you sit there and wonder why does Sean do COG number 2, COG number 3, COG number... Because there's no way to get a rated system. I can't test all these different decks. Like, generally when I COG with something, I have to pick a deck and COG with it, because after I get COG with it, the season ends. And even if I COG with like 5 different decks, it doesn't really apply to anything, because I'm still in the same position that I was when I started with. You know, then people say, oh, you never really got COG. So, you know... Please give us a rated system. That way, if you get a rated system, then you can play all these different decks in COG. People will test. It'll be like an endless point battle room, you know, and people can test. You'll have a 30-day month period to grind the rated system, so you won't have to do. People can play as they want to play. So, give us a rated system, and that will be good. You can still keep the KC Cup, but give us a rated system for the love of spaghetti. Don't let a 3-month period, like for the KC Cup, they go to November to February, and from June to September, where nobody has anything to do in COG, and people will just say, I'm bored, because after that is nonstop PvE events, and what are you going to do for the rest of the month? Do like Kira Zaizen 30 times at the gate until you're blue in the face? That needs to change. Duel Links actively has one of the worst ranking systems in the game. Everybody else, look at Pocket. Pocket has Master Ball rated. Shadowverse has Master rated. Hearthstone has Legend ranks. Every Master Duel has a rated system. Konami implemented it in Master Duel. Duel Links is the only game that I know that doesn't have it. So please, 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 give us a rated system. 2. Oh no, well, I'm not done with this. The other issue is you cannot derank in plat. Now, again, if you have a rated system, I think this fixes it because nobody will really care anymore. But because you can't derank in plat, Legend becomes garbage. And the reason why Legend becomes garbage is when you can't derank, people enter with garbage decks. Because if you keep playing against unoptimized decks, you will enter Legend with a garbage deck, because eventually you will rank up. And people, and then you ever see my opponents when I COG stream, and then you see some of them like with these unoptimized weird decks? Yeah, you're getting into Legend. They say, how do you get the Legend? Well, because you can't derank in plat. So if you can't go down, the only way you really can go is up, you know. And eventually you will get there. Even if you climb at a slow pace, you will get there. So, you know, you can't derank in plat. So you eventually will get to Legend. So if you have rated, this isn't an issue because nobody will really care. Because the true gameplay will start in rated, so nobody really cares anymore. But if you can't derank in plat, then that will cause issues. I think another thing too is if you add rated, you can add win bonuses in the lower ranks. Because this will actively get people to rated quicker, and which is fine because it'll be a leaderboard based system, so nobody really care. If you get COG quicker than anything, it will pretty much, it will demeaning the thing of COG a little bit more, but the rated system will pretty much say your COG something or other, so you could add win streak bonuses in the lower ranks at that point. I think you would be fine. So those are things to fix the ranking system. Number 2. PvE is actively terrible. I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you. It's actively awful. Especially they're dueling at the gate. Now, the problem is if you're a veteran player like me, and you've played this game since day one, your duel orbs are pretty much almost non-existent, if you have barely any at all, because you spend them on other things, and I will tell you that in a second. They don't give you enough. You end up farming these characters at the gate till you're blue in the face, until you get bored, and you get randomly dropped cards. If they don't drop you what you need, oh well, you're pretty much done. I remember it used to be much worse. It got a little bit better because now you have the EX Trader that can allow you to get things at the gate. But the problem is now you couldn't in the past ever get anything at the gate. So like I remember I had the Antinomy event where I couldn't get Booster Raptor for like the last day. I thought I was gonna have to play. I actually had to enter a tournament with TG when it came out without Booster Raptor because I couldn't get it. And I spent all my money on the box to get Halberd Cannon, Star Guardian, all the cool TG monsters, Screw Serpent at 3, but I couldn't play the deck because I couldn't get a free game resource because it was random, which really hurts the game. If you ever need 3 of an event card, which sometimes you do, I believe Salamangreat Balangs, when Soulburner came out, was an event card. Was a gate card. Well, it might have been an event, but you need keys for it. So it was because it was an event, it was a little bit easier. But some of these cards you need 3 of. So like if you had to play Salamangreat at the start, you needed 3 of a certain card, like a Balangs, you would actively be screwed. So not good. You need to have guarantees at some point. Even if you had to play the event a little bit longer, but the cards are guaranteed, it would be a lot better. Then you wouldn't feel like, oh no, I'm playing with luck or chance. Now, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that PvE events that are actually good is that are raid duels events. Because even though it's random, the one good thing about raid duels is you always can play the raid duel. You never run out of currency. So you can go to the supporter duels and constantly help for the chance to pull the cards you need. Which is always good because you're not banked on duel orbs. The other events feel so gotcha that you're banked on duel orbs to really gain any kind of keys for the event. Unless you do like the 120 that you get for doing 3 ranked duels a day, it's just actively bad. And if you're playing that constantly for the rest of the month with no other cool PvP events, this is nothing to do. It just gets boring and the game just gets dull fast. And that's actively terrible. Okay, next. Number 3. Grinding gems is awful. When you play Duel Links, and I'm sure many of you have been accustomed to this, because I have, when the new box comes out at the end of the month, and everyone knows it comes out around the 31st, so everyone's like prepared for that. Sometimes it's a little bit early, depending on the time of the month, but you have to get gems to open packs, okay? But how do you grind gems? You have to level up characters. How do you level up characters, you may ask? Well, there's 3 different ways, and 2 of them are very painful. One of them not so painful, but it's still painful enough because it's a wallet-driven way. The first way is go into ranked and play so many ranked duels to level up your character. But you only gain 500 EXP off of like 35,000 EXP that you need. So you're going to be there forever. Forever to level up. Let me give you an example. Okay? Let me give you an example. And I might be wrong. I might be wrong on terms of exactly how much, points it is, but it's forever. Just know that. Okay. So, all of this, to get up to like 30 is not terrible, but 34, 35 actively is. And you need so many points to get all the way up to 35 that if you gain 500 points, you'll be there forever. One of them is 20,000 to level up. Okay? So, do 500 into 20,000. I will do the math for you. And that's that if you do 20,000 into 500, and I will do the math for you here. Means 40 duels, okay? That is 40 duels. So that means, in order to level up, you have to do 40 duels if you want to just play ranked, okay? At a standard 30 to 34 level up, which is awful. Awful, awful, awful. Which means that if you did it all in ranked, you would have to go from 30 to 34, so you would have to do 40 times 4, which is 160. You would have to do 160 duels to level up 4 levels. Terrible. Actively terrible. Okay? The other issue, and this kind of goes more into it, is that you could do it at the gate. Now, at the gate, it's a little bit easier because you can go times 3. So, you could make it, instead of 40, to about 13 duels to level up. The problem is, that's only to go 4 levels. To go is like, so you do 13 times 4, which is about 82? No, I'm a little bit off. I'm doing this math right on my head. 13 times 4 is about 52. No, I'm way off. It's 52. So you would have to do 52 duels to level up, which isn't terrible, 30 to 34, but that means that you have to do Kaiba at the gate and kick his butt on Balinsky 52 times, which is boring. And that's only to go up 4 levels. Now imagine if you have to go from 17 to 34. Now that's a lot more, right? Then that means if you want to go from like 17 to 34, you have to kick Kaiba's Balinsky like 200 times. Which is just actively awful. There's no auto-dueling at the gate. It is, unless you're doing like some kind of event, then you have to waste all your keys to do it. But other than that, it's just actively terrible. Especially if you have to level up multiple characters to get your gems. So that is terrible. And the further you go beyond that, it's even more painful. So for example, if you were to go to like level 35 or 40 to 45 and you need a card, because sometimes there are cards that are only level 45 that you need. So let me teach you about a clear example of this. So if we go to Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and we go to Jesse. Let's say you really like Crystal Beast. Let's say Crystal Beast is one of your favorite decks to play. Right? Well, that's great. And you just unlocked Jesse Anderson. Well, too bad you need Crystal Bond to play it. And that is level 45. Okay? It is almost impossible for a new player to grind up to level 45 to get this card. It is integral to the deck, but you can't get it because, hey, you have to go all the way up to 45. It is terrible. Jaden used to have the same issue. If I click on, not Jaden, if I click on Jaden Ubel, Masked Hero Blast used to be needed for Masked Heroes. And again, if you wanted to play Heroes, and with the old Mask Change build in the past, you needed Blast, which was level 45. So you get to see how actively terrible this was. Not great for the game at all. So you had to grind so many level up rewards to get this. And even Jack Atlas, if you want to play Resonator. Not Jack. Somebody else, not Jack. No, Speedroid, that's what I meant. So if you wanted to play Speedroid, right?
Let's make things exciting.
You need Duplicate, and Duplicate is level 40. And you need multiple Duplicate to play Speedroid, and that is currently meta relevant. So if you want multiple Duplicate, you have to go to Rin, and she's also 38 and 40. So you would have to essentially grind either Rin to 40 to get 2 Duplicates, and then grind Yugo somewhat so you can get access to Cork Shooter. Now, luckily, he does, I believe, give you Cork Shooter. No, he doesn't. So, you would essentially have to grind Ring up there, and then you need Cork Shooter to play Speedroid, so you have to grind Yugo to 38 anyway to get Cork Shooter. So, it's just actively a horrible experience to grind sometimes in this game. So, there are 3 examples right there of this. And again, DDD has the same problem with Declan needing High King Genghis, which is also a high up reward. So, you could just see right off the bat my issue. Okay. Now, I'm going on to my final topic. And again, I want to go into this for the bad things. And 4 is new players and veterans. This is a horrible game for. If you're in the middle, you're doing fine. If you're at the beginning or the end, you're probably not doing fine. If you're a new player, it is actively terrible to get into Duel Links, and I'm going to tell you why. Not saying you can't. IC has done an amazing job content creating for new players trying to get into it. But as a new player, you get about 2,500 gems. Okay? Sometimes it's like 335, 4,000, depending on the time of the month. But that means you get anywhere from about 50 to 70 packs to start off on average, which is barely enough to clear not even half a box run. So you end up maybe not even getting the UR you want. And you end up getting stuck with a bunch of random slot that you can't really build a deck with unless you go in and buy structure decks. Now, you do get structure decks, but some of them are paywalled. So, for example, if you wanted to build Utopia, go over here, you can get like the first structure deck for free. After that, you have to pay a nominal fee. Now, I've already bought the structure deck, so that's why you're seeing it at full price. They give you one at a discounted price at first, but then you have to pay the full price for the third one. But not everyone wants to pay a price just to get into a game. Imagine you've never played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before in your life, and you don't want to invest money immediately because you don't know if you're going to enjoy the game. So, they say, buy before you try. And it's literally, try before you buy. Right? So if you see a lot of things with free trials and stuff like that, or even games like Shadowverse that allow you to get into the game and teach you about the craft, and allow you to get to build a symbol of a deck or a structure deck before you even begin to play the game. And don't even get me started with the character starter decks that they give you Duel Links. It's just actively terrible. Right? So you go into the game and just say, oh man, I have to buy a structure deck before I can even try Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's actively bad. So just keep that in mind. Alright. So what else is really bad? So what do you do as a new player? Well, you end up grinding a character. So you have to do a bunch of PvE before you get into PvP, because PvP won't give you enough gems to really clear out and build free-to-play stuff. Even if you wanted to be free-to-play and go one run through a box, you're likely lacking text at that point, and you're also likely, how should I put it? Not even have the full deck assembled because, again, you still need other tech cards. And you still need to finish grinding your character so you can actually complete the one run through the box. Now, one run through a box, you're guaranteed everything in that box, but it's still 180 packs that you have to clear. Meaning that if a Luber's at the bottom of the box and you wanted to play Despia, oh well. So it's still not actively great. And still, that doesn't account for you going runs through a multiple box. So keep that in mind. Alright. Now, for veteran players, why is it bad? In Duel Links, you get characters. Characters generally come monthly. Sometimes there are periods where they don't come monthly, and that becoming a problem. And with Rush implemented in the game, people who are devoted solely to speed can't really grind these Rush characters as well because they don't have good cards to really grind them with. So you end up just kind of in a bad scenario. So the thing is, with speed, you start running out of characters. And once you run out of characters, that's running out of gems to grind. And once gems are out of there to grind, you're relying solely on events and ranked duels to get the gems you need to start opening up packs. Now, when a new main box comes out, you are stuck in a position to where you basically now are forced to put in money. They basically said, sorry, all your currency's gone. Go screw a camel. Go ahead and spend until you're dead off in the face. So that becomes the problem for Duel Links at that point. Now, I want to go on even further into this. The other issue for every player in this game, and the one thing I dread the most, is selection boxes. Now, if you don't know what a selection box is, it's basically a box that comes out that is higher cost and releases cards that are sneak peeked into a game that are not in the main box yet. Now, the problem with a selection box is it's severely paywalled. Now, if I'm correct, they did increase the amount of gems you could use in the selection. However, it's still not good enough. So if you were to go to a selection box, and we look at one key card, I'm gonna illustrate out of the selection box that has seen a ton of play of late, that is a problem is this one. Yes, Nibiru. Nibiru is not in the main box. This card came out over a year ago, and we still do not have access to this being in a generic main box. So that means if you don't have Nibiru and you don't want to spend money, oh well. And selection boxes are much more packed. They're 200 gems a pack. Now, granted, in a main box, it's only 60 packs. This was in a mini, which was 34 packs. However, it's still 200 times 34 because you really have no idea where that's going to be in the box. So, on average, I'm going to say it's about 20 packs in. That's an average, okay? I'm going to be fair and I'm going to put it on average. So, if we do 20 times 200, that is about 4,000 gems. Okay, 200 times 20. Alright, so that's 4,000 gems. So, 4,000 gems is a lot of gems. Especially when you consider you're only pulling for one card. Most of the time, selection boxes are reprints that you may not need. To be honest, if you're a veteran player in this game, you probably have most of those cards that are reprinted already. Or, even if you don't, some of those cards are probably not even meta relevant anymore anyway. Like, I remember one of the selection boxes had, like, Stardust Dragon in it. When Stardust Dragon wasn't even being played anymore. So it's like, oh, great. Well, I got a card I'm never going to use. And I got a card that I already have, like, 5 copies of. Remember, I'm going to take one really good example here. And that is Alistair. This is a great example for this. This was in a selection box. Now, here's your problem. This was reprinted as selection. This was reprinted as box ships. And here's the problem with this. Hey, guess what? You could get this with box ships. But guess what? If this is reprinted as a selection box, now you're going to pull additional copies of Alistair and Invocation that you do not need. Splendid! While trying to get your Magical Meltdown or Nadir Servant. And that's in a main box. And that's 60 packs. So that's 8,000 gems to clear that. But you can only go like 30 packs of selection with gems. So then you have to start spending money. Which is a lot of money. Selection boxes are very, very cost driven. I remember one box I spent nearly $300 on. Big regret. But that is on a gacha game. To get access to this card. Which I thought was going to be meta changing. BLS I was right about because BLS came out and made meta changes, so I did get value there. But Bottomless Trap Hole. This card was ultra rare that you are in a main box selection. Also, this card, which I spent over $100 to get 3 copies of. Forbidden Droplet. This card is very expensive. And if you're not willing to paywall, when this was in the selection, it didn't come out for a year. Remember, Droplets didn't come out until the end of December of that year. So, when this came out, right? This came out in January. You did not get it through Bird Meta. You had to wait a year until the end of December for Forbidden Droplet to drop. So you were stuck in the heart of Bird Meta not having Droplet. And Droplet was the main way to beat Bird. So if you didn't have it, oh well, I guess you're limiting your rounds to beating Bird. And it really stunk because the best card was limited behind a paywall. So, again, just to show you how they will get you at points. So that is my faults with the game. Now on to the positives. This is the final topic I'm going to cover. Alright, so the good thing is Chronicle Rares. Now, Chronicle Rares are mostly a great thing for the game. And the reason why is, let's take a look. Chronicle Rares allow you to add any kind of upgrade onto cards that you may have or may not have, right? So you can get Rainbow Border, you can get Gold, you can get Black Metal, well, all on cards you have, not cards that you don't have. You always get on cards you have. Now, the only problem I have with this, this is great because this allows you to, every duelist to customize out their favorite cards and really show off what they love the most. Now the only problem I have with this is one issue. And the issue is that the full starlight, the rainbow, the green, the name colors, green, red, blue, whatever, are a kick in the kahunas to everyone who's gotten top 100 or better. Because everyone who's gotten top 100 or better only had all this stuff reserved for them. And it's just a kick in the kahunas to them. It really is. Because it's what makes their cards unique from everybody else who has not topped. So, just a referencing there. I think that everything's fine here except full starlight and rainbow. And all these name colors should not be obtainable because these should be reserved for top 100 or better. But other than that, this has been an amazing thing for the game. Can't gripe. Chronicles has been fantastic. Now, the other thing I want to go on about is that Duel Links is truly one of the best dueling experiences in the game. It's much better, in my opinion, than Master Duel TCG because it's a lot more interactive. Skills make duels a lot more interactive and fun. So, take a duel deck like take a skill like Crystal Clear Wing Acceleration. Right? This skill allows you to go both first and second. So, going second, you get a bonus, which is the way modern day Yu-Gi-Oh cards are being designed. Which is, if you go second, you get an advantage to help you go second. Because otherwise, you deal with the issue, like in Master Duel, if I go first, I win. Your opponent didn't have Max C, your opponent didn't have Lancia, okay, I'm going full Dormouse combo. So, that's the issue. But if you take a thing like Duel Links, you can go second via skills, and you can break boards with your skills along. So that's a really good thing about Duel Links. The duels are very interactive and very fun. So I can't say that I don't love that about Duel Links because I absolutely do. One of the best dueling experiences around. The other good thing about Duel Links, one other good thing is that there are a diversity of different characters to play. So if you're into the anime, this is really good for you. You can make a deep connection with the anime. I think that's a really, really good thing. Overall, would I recommend Duel Links? Absolutely. If you have time, patience, I think it's a great game to play. But, again, patience is the word because this game is going to take a lot of patience for you to play. So, yeah, that's my review on Duel Links. Alright? Please react to the comments. Please like. Please tell me what I missed. This is how I feel about the game of Duel Links. People are going to ask me, is Duel Links dead? Absolutely not. It's not dead. We still have an active community. It's somewhat a bit smaller, but it is definitely not dead. It is very much alive, and there are very much passionate people around Duel Links. Again, what would I like to see? I would love to see a rating system. I would love to see a Duel Links 2. What about Duel Links 2? That would be fantastic for this game. We need a second installation of Duel Links. Konami, it's been 8 years. We should get Duel Links 2. That would bring everybody back, I guarantee it. So, yeah. Until next time, it's your boy, Shaw Betry, signing out. Let me know your opinions. Peace.